We are at a unique point in human history. We can either, on the one hand, improve the standard and quality of life of all mankind, or we can destroy the planet as we know it.
It is truly tragic. I can't tell you how it feels to wake up every morning smelling the smoke of my country burning for month after month, and knowing that we could have done something about this had we started 10, 15 years ago.
One of the greatest challenges we face is climate change and the threat it poses to the environment. In December last year, after many years' delay, Australia ratified the Kyoto Protocol.
We will require around 500 big polluters to pay a price for every tonne of carbon pollution they put into our atmosphere.
The bill's now certain to become law with the help of the Greens in the Senate.
The carbon tax is a bad tax based on a lie.
Get the witch!
There will be no carbon tax under a government I lead.
The first act of the new Conservative government in 2013 was to sack me and my commissioners and to take down our website.
The PM was in Port Moresby, telling Pacific Island nations he's very concerned about the prospect of them succumbing to rising sea levels.
2015 and 2016 have seen a quite shocking acceleration in surface temperatures, ocean temperatures. The first few months of 2016 have been pushing 1.5 degrees above the pre-industrial average.
The data has been corrupted, and we know that the 1930s were warmer than today.
Yeah. Corrupted? What do you mean corrupted?
Been manipulated. And
by who?
By NASA. By the yes.
Australia is experiencing unprecedented extreme heat and setting new records at an alarming rate.
A one-time warrior for climate change action has been forced to back down from his target to reduce carbon emissions after he couldn't get the support of his own party.
January was officially Australia's hottest month since records began more than a century ago.
Australia has warmed by just over 1 degree on average.
In most countries, far more people die in cold snaps than in heat waves, so a gradual lift in global temperatures might even be beneficial.
People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing, and all you can talk about is fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
The Treasurer knows the rule on crops.
It's coal.
Sorry, move over, don't stop, just keep coming.
The number of fires and the size of the fire edge is unprecedented.
The worst could be yet to come.
The suggestion that there's any one climate policy that has contributed directly to any of these fire events is just ridiculous.
Nah, you're an idiot, mate. You are out. You're not welcome, you witch. Scammer! Scammer!
To try and make out that somehow or other the Australian government could have done something by reducing its carbon emissions that would have reduced these bushfires is just complete nonsense.
There is you, Mr Kelly, with respect, a senior politician who still doesn't think this has anything to do with a heating up planet. Wake up. Wake up.
In the years ahead, we are going to continue to evolve our policy in this area to reduce emissions even further, and we're going to do it without a carbon tax and without shutting down traditional industries upon which regional Australians depend for their very livelihood.
Look at all those years and the political football back and forth that climate change became. It looks at the moment like just maybe we're moving past that, but I don't know. I go back to 2007. My worry is that it looked like it then When Kevin Rudd came in, even John Howard in defeat was advocating an emissions trading scheme, and it ended up being a mirage. And look at the 12 years since. I worry that history is going to repeat itself.
Do you know what, Pevio? I reckon this time's different. I reckon back then it was more of an ideological understanding of politics. This time something's changed.
More removed from people's lives?
Do you know what? I think you could look at the drought, you could have compassion, you could look at bushfires, you could say that's awful. When you've got people in CBD whose children are getting cortisone injections to stop them from getting asthma, when you've got people watching our incredible, beautiful native animals possibly getting to the point of being endangered, I think something has switched. And I now hope that the country's now going, do you know what? This is not just an environmental cost. This is not just an economic cost. This is a social cost. There are people that will be scarred for this for life. And I think for the first time we've always spoken about climate refugees. People have just thought this pie in the sky idea of that happens in third world countries. When those kids were crying, starving in Malakuta and stranded on the beach, couldn't get out, I reckon for the first time Aussies looked at themselves and went, do you know what? They went, shit, this is real.
I hope you're right. I mean, Catherine, you're from Queensland. Is that the view up there? That's where the coalition did best at the last election.
Well, Queensland is a great place to live. You've got to know that. You've also got to know a bit about the election result and the nature of Queensland. It's a very decentralised state. Primary industry is a major employer, agriculture as well, but so is tourism. We've got a major natural asset right up the coast of Queensland, which people are keen to protect. I think you've also got to remember just the number of people employed by mining. And, you know, I grew up in Mount Isa, I've lived in Gladstone, I have friends and family in southeast Queensland that are employed by the mining sector. That said, you have people in places like Townsville which have been battling high unemployment for a long time, now staring down the barrel of uninsurable homes because the scale of the disaster that Queensland deals with is likely getting worse.